Welcome to one of our first really long videos. This pie. We are going to melt the vegan butter and then put in chopped up chicken in order to cook it. You're going to want to cook it fully, season it just a touch with some salt and a bit of pepper first, and cook it right through. Now you can use already cooked chicken meat if you have it left over from a roast chicken, or you can use ground chicken, chicken thighs. We used leftover tenderloins here from a chicken breast that we had used earlier in the day. Once it's fully cooked through, we smashed it down, just cut up some of our larger pieces so we could see inside them, left any chicken fat in the bowl, and now we're going to cook up our vegetables. Vegetables we have are carrots, onions, celery, and frozen peas. You can cut them up in advance and freeze those, cook them till they're soft, then add the herbs in. Usually we use all dried. We only had the fresh rosemary that day. Now we're scraping the stuff off the bottom that's getting stuck on, and now pushing everything to half of the pot in order to start making the roux. We're going to melt a half cup of vegan butter and let that melt down. Just try to keep it to one side as much as possible and get the stuff off the bottom. Then we're going to add gluten-free flour to it, another half cup of that, and mix it right round. Scrape the bottom up, try and get that gluten-free flour so it is nice and cooked through. Now we bring in a bit of chicken stock. We're going to deglaze the pot. You're going to want to stir and scrape at the same time. We find it easiest to use a spatula for this particular dish. Sometimes if you're just making it without the vegetable in there, you can actually do it with a whisk as well. So as you can see, it starts pulling off the stuff from the bottom, which gives you a ton of flavor. All those cooked meat bits, cooked vegetable bits, that's what gives your gravy loads of flavor. Once we get all of the chicken stock back into the pot, we're going to season it and add in the chicken as well as the dairy-free milk. Mix that all together really well. Then we're going to simmer it. So we're going to simmer it down to get a nice thick gravy. Just keep stirring it every couple minutes to make sure that the bottom doesn't start sticking on, because you really don't want to bake that bottom part on. You're going to end up burning it because it does get really thick. So you're simmering it here for about 15 to 20 minutes just to get that really thick, beautiful gravy. Now this is something that we do a lot. It's fully cooked. You have to taste it. Make sure the seasonings in it are perfect, because you cannot change it after this. This is the time to change that salt and pepper if you need extra, or if you need to even out the taste. Once it is finished simmering, we're going to then take it off the heat and transfer the gravy, meat, and veg layer into a 9 by 13 inch casserole and spread it out so it's an even layer. And as you can see, just spread it right out, because you're going to put the mashed potatoes on top of that. We use mashed potatoes instead of pastry. It's just a lot easier when you are gluten, dairy, and egg free. Now you're going to want to fluff up those mashed potatoes if they're leftovers like these ones were. So we fluffed them up, used a little bit of warm water on the back of the spoon to help and smooth them out, and that way we can get a nice consistent layer on it. If you're going to be really fancy, you can also fluff them up and beat them with your mixer, add a little bit of warm water to them, and then pipe them. So you want almost like a really smooth icing consistency for these mashed potatoes when you're putting them on top. You can also make them the day of. It's entirely up to you. We had leftovers. That's what we wanted to do. A lot of this is done so you can easily use leftovers for this dish, and you can also freeze it. So you can make 2 of these at the same time and freeze half of them, put them in those aluminum foil containers, and then you have them for the dinner the next day if everybody else is out doing something else. You could take them with you to somewhere else. So say we're going to go to a friend's place, we put them in little aluminum containers, then the kids have individual portions and we bring them with us. So smooth that all out with a bit of warm water on the back of the spoon so it's nice and consistent, covering all the little gravy spots, and then just wipe off your container and your casserole dish there. Next, we've melted dairy-free butter, and now we're just painting it. We're painting it with a basting brush on top of the mashed potatoes. That's what's going to give it that really nice golden crispy exterior when it comes time to pulling it out of the oven. So we get it everywhere, just go up and down. Don't make a really fancy pattern or anything, but you can. Then we throw it in the oven, and we're going to bake it at 400 for about 25 to 30 minutes, and voila, you have a chicken pot pie. I like to pop it onto a cookie sheet to stop it from bubbling over. Bake it at 400 degrees Fahrenheit. When it's golden brown and bubbly, it's done. Enjoy.